Hello. How are you today? That's good. My name is Charles Webster Baer, and I'm in Redmond, Oregon, USA. And today is August 13, 2023. And my websites are globalinternetgovernment.com and depopulationism.com. And I've made a lot of videos over the last 20 years. I enjoy doing that. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to continue to do that. But I've never made a 2-hour video before. I've made a lot of videos that are under an hour. I've made a few videos that are over an hour, but I've never made a video that's over 2 hours. So today, that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to make a video that's over 2 hours today. So I'll be speaking very slowly and taking lots of long, dramatic pauses. Like this one right here. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about the history of the universe. And then I'm going to talk about the future of the universe. And then I'm going to talk about depopulationism. And then I'm going to talk about global internet government. And then I'm going to talk about fog bank. And then I'm going to talk about myself. And then I'll talk about other stuff, like philosophy. And I'm just going to keep talking until I get a video that's over 2 hours long. So, let's start with the history of the universe. Now, there might be more than one universe. There might be the non-universe. There might be the parallel universe. There might be the void. There might be the known universe and the unknown universe. There might be different universes. So when I say we're going to talk about the history of the universe, we're going to talk about the history of this universe, the known universe, the physical universe. And we're going to go back about 14 billion years. Now, 14 billion years ago, the universe was either created or the universe has been around forever, and human beings can't comprehend the concept of forever. Because we think in a linear, straight way, straight lines, and the universe is actually curved. So that's the problem we get into when we try to contemplate concepts like infinity and so forth. So 14 billion years ago, the universe was either created with the Big Bang or the universe got expanded to a point where it was big enough for humans to comprehend. That would also be called the Big Bang, I guess. So anyway, 14 billion years ago, the universe was an energy plasma made up of energy. And as this energy plasma expanded and cooled, it formed subatomic particles, leptons, quarks, neutrinos, bosons, etc. And as this plasma of subatomic particles expanded and cooled, it formed atomic particles, neutrons, protons, electrons. And as this energy plasma of atomic particles expanded and cooled, it formed hydrogen atoms. And as this plasma of hydrogen atoms expanded and cooled, it formed hydrogen dust. And as this plasma of hydrogen dust expanded and cooled, it formed hydrogen clouds. And as these hydrogen clouds gravitationally collapsed upon themselves, creating fusion, they form stars. And as these stars gravitationally group together, they form galaxies. And inside these stars, they form the elements. And when these stars exploded, they formed other elements. And I don't know when the Milky Way galaxy was created, maybe 7 or 8 billion years ago, but the Earth and the Sun and the planets were created 5 billion years ago. And the planets were just what was left over from the creation of the Sun. So the Earth was created 5 billion years ago with the Sun, and it was a lava blob, which I guess had a moon at some point, eventually. And as it cooled and orbited, the crust formed, and the gases escaped and formed the oceans. And as it orbited, the asteroids landed on it and went other places and gradually cleared out. And 4 billion years ago, life was created through a random chemical events, hydrothermal vents, bacteria, just coincidentally, these things came together correctly. So we're very lucky to have created life here on Earth. Most planets aren't that lucky. The bacteria reproduced. Its genetic code mutated in a positive way, which is called evolution. When you change something for the better, that's evolving. The bacteria evolved into algae, which created photosynthesis, which became a plant, which evolved into seaweed. And these plants eventually started eating each other. And this was the creation of animals. And you had sponges and jellyfish, and they evolved into fish, which evolved into reptiles, which evolved into mammals, which evolved into monkeys, which evolved into apes, which evolved into humans. And now we're evolving into computers, and carbon-based life will evolve into silicon-based life. And then robots will go on to colonize the galaxy and the universe. And that's the history of the universe. This universe. I probably left out a few things. I'm waving at you with my foot right now. Hello. How are you? These are my toes. Okay, so that's the history of the universe. Not quite 2 hours. So let's back it up 3 million years ago, 3 million BC. We got humans running around, jumping around. A lot of fun, good times. Africa, South Africa. Got to make it through the jungle. Take some elephant trails. Watch out for the tigers or the lions. So then we make it to North Africa. And we make it out of Africa. We get out of Africa like about 200,000 years ago. And we go on to colonize the rest of the planet. So 200,000 years ago, humans get out of Africa. We colonize the planet. And now, 10,000 years ago, we start creating civilizations. We start creating language. We start creating agriculture. We start domesticating animals. We start creating society and culture and some kind of political order. Religion. Start creating civilization. Start creating society. Start creating modern humanity. Like 10,000 years ago, all over the place. India, Middle East, Asia. So 2,500 years ago, 500 BC, in Greece, in Athens, we've got the beginning of Western civilization in Europe. And these Greeks create the foundation for Western civilization, which is still around today. They create science, art, theater, philosophy, politics, democracy, mathematics, history, everything. We created all of it right there in Athens in 500 BC. Plato, Aristotle, Socrates. And then the Italians borrow very heavily from all of that and create the Roman Empire and go into Europe and create modern Europe. And then there's the Industrial Revolution and everything else. Okay. So, 500 BC, Greeks are creating the foundation for modern Western civilization. At the same time, the Greeks are doing this. In India, they are already very civilized, and they already have all these things. And they've had all these things for a long time. And they've been doing very well with all these things. And they're more advanced than the Greeks, because the Greeks are just getting started. And there was a dude named Buddha from Nepal who headed south to India, groove. And he did groove. And he got all philosophical. And he said, if the universe does not exist, then you are the soul. So Buddha created the soul. And the soul is what you are if the universe does not exist. Now, the universe probably exists. We assume the universe exists. But apparently there's a small chance it does not, which is cool. But if the universe does not exist, then what are you? Well, you're not part of the universe because it doesn't exist. So what are you? You're the soul. This is philosophy. This is philosophy, in my opinion, is the correct philosophy. But the universe probably does exist, so that means that you're probably not the soul, which is fine. Anyway, this information, it went east to China, where they were smart and understood it and created Buddhism, which is not a religion, it's a philosophy, the correct philosophy. This information went west to Jerusalem, where they were not as advanced as the Chinese, and they didn't quite understand this information completely. They didn't have a language that was able to accommodate these ideas sufficiently, and they misinterpreted this intentionally or unintentionally, probably unintentionally. But the mistake was very simple. Instead of soul singular, they said souls plural. And then they created Christianity, and then after a while they created Islam. So Christianity and Islam are basically misinterpretations of philosophy. And many shenanigans followed, and there were a lot of hijinks that occurred and continue to occur. And, yeah, there you go. So then you've got the Roman Empire, Europe, Dark Ages, Medieval Ages, Renaissance, Industrial Revolution, technology, and then you've got the colonization of the New World and the creation of the USA and freedom and freedom of speech, freedom of the press, and so that all happened in the last millennium. That all happened. A lot of it happened in the last century. Wars, cultural revolutions, stuff like that. And so that's the history of the universe. And that's the history of the human race up to this point, up to now. But I'm going to go backwards again. And I'm going to go to the 1970s. And I actually remember the 1970s. It was a good decade. Lots of fun. Very enjoyable. So in the 1970s, you had people grooving, and they grooved on a lot of groovy stuff. And one of the things they grooved on was environmentalism. You see, people in the last millennium knew about environmentalism and talked about it and discussed it in lots of various different ways. And smart people knew about it. Smart people talked about it. Smart people talked about it logically. They wrote about it. They were concerned about it. It was an important topic. They talked about it using reason and common sense. And they came to the conclusion that killing the planet Earth by overpopulating it is a bad idea. And they came to the conclusion that destroying the planet Earth with overpopulation is not a good idea. It's a bad idea, and we shouldn't do it. And that's the correct conclusion. That's the right conclusion. They were correct. They were right. Killing planet Earth is a bad idea, and we shouldn't do it. But we are killing the planet Earth with overpopulation, and it's wrong. We're wrong to be doing what we're doing. So they came upon the correct conclusion, and that was the correct conclusion, and they came upon that conclusion. Okay, now at that point, it was time to actually do something about it. At that point, when you arrive at the right answer, then the time for discussion and talk ends and the time for action begins, When you arrive at the end of the discussion and you have the correct answer, that's when you stop talking and start doing. And that's what happened. That's what happened. China in 1980 became depopulationist. And China in 1980 said, we're depopulationist. One woman, one child. It's illegal to reproduce a second time. So China got it right in 1980. They got it right. They said, we're depopulationist. It's illegal to have more. It's illegal to reproduce a second time. It's the one woman, one child policy. So China did it right in 1980. And what should have happened is the rest of the world should have said, yep, China's doing the correct thing. China's doing the right thing. We're going to do that too. That's what should have happened. What should have happened is the rest of the world should have said, China's depopulationist. China has the one woman, one child policy. China says it's illegal to reproduce a second time. China's correct. China's right. Killing the planet is wrong. Killing the planet is bad. We're going to be good and save the planet. We're not going to be bad and kill the planet. We're going to be depopulationists too. We're going to have this law too. We're going to do this too. That's what the entire planet Earth should have said in 1980 after China said that. That's what should have happened. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened. Because although in 1980 the Chinese were smart and the Chinese were good, everybody else was bad and everybody else was stupid. And everybody else said, we've got the freedom to kill the planet. We've got the freedom to destroy the environment. We have that option and we're going to choose that option. And they did. And so now the planet and the environment has been destroyed. And now we're left with a dead planet and a dead environment. And whether or not we can survive is unlikely, but we'll find out. So why did we make the wrong decision? Well, because we're stupid and we're evil and we're insane. Okay. Well, can we change and start being good and sane and smart? I think so. I hope so. I don't know if we have a lot of time left to do that. I think we can do that. The question is, if we do that, is there enough time left to, get back on the right path? So it's a question of time. Well, and whether or not we can change. I think we can change. I hope we can change. But even if we do change, then the question becomes, do we have enough time to save the planet? Do we have the opportunity to save the planet? So I hope we can change. And if we can, then I hope we have enough time to save the planet. So those are my two hopes. I hope we can change and become depopulationist. And if we do, then I hope we have enough time and the opportunity to save the planet. And if we do, then I hope we do save the planet. And if we do, then that's fantastic. I'll probably be long dead before people realize what the answer to those questions are. And that's fine. But good luck to future generations. Good luck to you. Good luck to everybody. Good luck to the planet Earth. Good luck to future generations. Good luck to everything and everybody, everywhere, all the time. So, we talked about the history of the universe. We talked about the history of mankind. We talked about depopulationism. I want to talk some more about depopulationism. This is a big deal. Depopulationism is the only relevant issue on the planet. Every other topic on the planet is irrelevant. There's only one relevant issue on the planet, and that's depopulationism. If you are a depopulationist, that's great. If you're not a depopulationist, then you should consider becoming one. I've been a depopulationist since 1985. Depopulationists feel that it's illegal to reproduce a second time on the planet Earth for the next few centuries. Now, if you are a depopulationist, then that's good. And you want to be loud about it. You want to tell people you're depopulationist. You want to recruit people and convert them to depopulationism. You want to vote for candidates that are publicly declared depopulationists, and you want to run for political office as a depopulationist. And if you have, 5 or 6 kids, you can be a depopulationist. You can change. You can say, I've changed. I am now a depopulationist. I'm not going to reproduce anymore. And I'm going to encourage others to not reproduce. And I'm going to support legislation making it illegal to reproduce a second time. So it doesn't matter how many kids you have. You can always become a depopulationist. You can change, you can improve, you can evolve, you can get better. You can elevate, you can level up. You can move forward, you can move upward, you can get smarter, get better. So everybody can either be a depopulationist right now just by saying I'm a depopulationist, or become a depopulationist eventually just by thinking it through and coming to the correct logical conclusion. So depopulationists want to create a significant and sustained and immediate decline in the human population on Earth until the number of people on Earth arrives at a sustainable level. And this is a number for future generations to determine, but I can go ahead and guess that it's going to be around 2 or 3 billion people. We just need to go in the correct direction, and the correct direction is down. Right now we're going in the incorrect direction, which is up. So that's a suicidal course. As the human population increases, the probability of our survival as a species decreases, and the quality of our life decreases because we've got less water, less clean water, less air, less clean air, less land, less freedom. Yep. So we want the number of people on the planet Earth to decrease because as the human population on Earth decreases, the probability of humans surviving this millennium increases, and the standard and quality of living goes up because we have more water, more clean water, more air, more clean air, more land, and more freedom of speech, more freedom of the press, more democracy, more freedom online, more freedom offline. You see how that works? Right. So the issue here really has always been birth control. And everybody has the right to birth control. Everybody has the right to total and free access to all forms of birth control, including abortion and education. And any government that does not completely and totally support this is an illegitimate government and will be replaced quickly and peacefully by a legitimate government. And I'm going to go a step further here. Only depopulationist governments are legitimate governments. Only a government that is depopulationist is a legitimate government. Which means that the only legitimate government on the planet is global internet government. Because global internet government is the only depopulationist government on the planet. And so global internet government is the only legitimate government on the planet Earth today. And I'm going to say more about that in 60 seconds. Okay, I'm back. Okay. So, in the 1970s, the only legitimate government was a free and democratic government. In the 1980s, the only legitimate government was a depopulationist government. Which means since 1980, the only legitimate government was Chinese. Well, as an American, I had a problem with that. So I fixed that problem and created global internet government in the year 2000 in Portland, Oregon. And global internet government is a depopulationist government and a free and democratic government for the whole planet Earth. And that means that for the entire millennium, the only legitimate government so far in this millennium has been global internet government, because that's the only government that's been free and democratic for everybody and depopulationist. And I'm going to talk about that a lot soon. But I'm not done talking about depopulationism. Depopulationism, I just have to hammer this and 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 hammer this, because I just can't seem to make this point strongly enough. It's illegal to kill the planet. It's illegal to destroy the environment. Depopulationists are trying to save Earth. If you're not a depopulationist, then you're killing the planet, either because you're too stupid to know what you're doing, or because you're evil and you don't care, or because you're insane and you want to kill the planet. Depopulationists are smart, good people trying to save the planet. Everybody else is killing the planet, either because they're too stupid to know what's going on, and if they are, hopefully they can wise up, or just because they're evil and they don't care, or because they're insane and they want to kill the planet. Anyway, depopulationists are the good guys, and it's time for the good guys to win. Okay? It's time for the good guys to take over. It's not time to remove stupid people from the planet Earth, but it is time to remove stupid people from the governments of planet Earth. Depopulationism is the religion of this millennium. Okay, I've been saying this for 38 years. And I'm now able to say it calmly and peacefully and politely and slowly and accurately and thoroughly and completely. And so I do. And I'll keep doing it. But you need to say the word depopulationism. You need to say it out loud often. And you need to look in the mirror and figure out whether you're a depopulationist. And if you are, good. tell everybody about it. And if you're not bad, think about it hard, and figure it out. Yeah, depopulationism. It's the only way to save the planet. There's no other way. It's the only fair and logical way to save the planet. And we should have done it long ago, and we didn't. And now we're fucked. And that sucks. But if we do have a chance to turn this thing around, we need to take that chance immediately. So that's depopulationism. You need to get on this program, everybody, immediately. You need to get on it. The media needs to get on it. We need to get on it politically. We need to get on it legally. We need to get on it financially. We need to get on it spiritually and emotionally. We need to get on it all over it, nonstop, forever and ever and ever. We should have been on this long ago. We should have been on this in the 90s. We need to get on this online. We need to get on this offline. We need to get on this as individuals. We need to get on this as cities, as states, as nations, as continents, as a planet, as a solar system. We need to get on this, everybody. So that's depopulationism. So the only government that's legitimate is a depopulationist government. The only government that's depopulationist is global internet government. So global internet government is the only legitimate government on the planet, and global internet government is the only legitimate on the planet for the entire millennium, because it's the only depopulationist government on the planet Earth today, and it's the only depopulationist government that also supports freedom and democracy. So, what is GIG? GIG is Global Internet Government. GIG I created in Portland, Oregon in the year 2000 to save the planet. GIG's a world government. GIG's the world government. Okay. So, the United Nations and the International Monetary Fund are the world government. The UN and the IMF are the world government. The IMF handles all the financial issues of the world government, and the UN handles every other issue of the world government. The UN and the IMF are the world government, and they're doing a great job, and they've done a great job, and good for them. Thank you, UN. Thank you, IMF. They've done a great job of being the world government. And GIG totally supports them. GIG supports the UN. GIG supports the IMF. 100%. Always has, always will. The UN and the IMF do really good work, and Gig wants to help them out in any way, shape, and form that it can. Gig wants to help them out, speed up the process, and make it more transparent, and simplify it, and allow everyone to participate and contribute to it. So, the UN and the IMF are the world government, and that's good, and they're doing a good job. And Gig's going to help them do a good job by allowing them to do their job quicker, better, faster, and by allowing people to understand what's happening and what's going on, and by allowing people to comment on what's going on and how it's happening, and allowing people to participate and contribute into what's going on, and allowing people to vote and have a voice, and, on a local level, on a national level, on an international level. And Gig's going to add the key element here, which is depopulationism. The UN and the IMF should have been depopulationists decades ago. So Gig's going to help them get on that program quickly. And if they do, great. And if they don't, then they can just fuck off, and Gig will take over everything. Because Gig doesn't need the UN and the IMF. Gig can do what the UN and the IMF are doing and do it better and quicker and faster and easier and more transparently. So the UN can either get on the depopulationism tip and work with Gig, or they can just fuck off and Gig will do everything. And the UN and the IMF can go to fucking hell. That's where we're at. So it's their choice. It's their choice. Because, that's the deal. Yeah. So that's global internet government. Global internet government is going to represent everyone on the planet. And Gig is just like the EU. The EU is just like Gig. They're the same thing. But the EU is only concerned with Europe and Eastern Europe. And, Iceland and Greenland and Turkey and maybe Western Russia, maybe Northern Africa. But the EU is a regional world government. That's increasing in size. That's free and democratic. And that will probably become depopulationist. But Gig is just a worldwide global version of that. Much bigger. Everybody's included. Everybody can be part of it. Everybody can participate in it. So the EU is like a small regional version of Gig. Gig is like an international, worldwide, better, improved, legitimate version of the EU. And the EU is good. The EU is great. The EU has basically shown people how to do it. The EU has basically shown everybody how to do it, how to do a world government. And they've done it fantastic. So good for them. Now Gig's going to take over and go worldwide with it. And the EU is welcome to be part of Gig if it wants to. That's fine. That's up to them. I'm sure eventually that'll happen. But, I'm not going to push that. But it's destiny that America saves the planet. And it's destiny that America saves the planet by turning the planet into the United States of America. You know, there's like 200 countries, and gig is like the government of those 200 countries. Each country is like a state. You know, there's the United States of America, 50 states and one country, and then there's like the planet Earth, 200 states, 200 nations, one world government. You know, we can put it in Alaska, or it doesn't need a physical address. There'll be like a Senate or a House of Representatives, and every nation will have X number of votes proportionate to their population. And every population will be decreasing. So it'll be free, democratic, everybody will have an equal vote. You know, the solutions exist. The solutions are right there on the table. You just got to pick them up and say, I'm going to rock this one. So that's global internet government, gig. And now I'm going to talk about Fog Bank. Fog Bank is my cyber currency, which I created in 2019. And Fog Bank is the only legitimate currency out there because it's the only currency that's completely 100% transparent. And it's the only currency that's fair. It's the only currency with a roof and a ceiling and a floor. So it's the only currency that's clean because it's the only currency that's transparent. And it's the only currency that's fair because it's the only currency with a roof and a floor. And the roof will go down and the floor will go up. So Fog Bank is the only legitimate currency because it's the only currency that's clean. It's the only currency that's fair. And so Fog Bank will eventually become the only currency because it's the best currency and everybody wants to use the currency that's the best. So that's Fog Bank. So Fog Bank has a unit of currency called the Fog Buck, FOGBUK. And that's the unit of currency for Fog Bank. And everybody can buy as many Fog Bucks as they want for 1 American cent each. Up to $1 billion American dollars worth of Fog Bucks. Now, the value of the fog buck is 0. And hopefully, at some point in the future, the value of the fog buck goes up because it can't go down because Fogbank doesn't deal in debt. Fogbank does not have any debt to anybody ever at all. There's no debt in Fogbank. There's only positive sums of money, whatever those sums are, and they fluctuate. And they may go to 0, but that 0 is not negative. There's no debt in Fogbank. It's only positive sums of money or 0. So Fogbuck is the unit of currency in Fogbank, Fogbuk. And everybody can buy 1 Fogbuck for 1 penny. And you can buy as many as you want, up to $1 billion worth of Fogbucks. You can't go over $1 billion worth of Fogbucks. Or you can't, yeah. So that's that. That's the roof. And the roof's going to go down eventually. The value of the Fogbuck is 0. And hopefully in the future that value goes up. It can't go down. It's at 0. It can only go up. And if it goes up, then it can go back down to 0. But ideally, theoretically, hopefully, it eventually goes up. And then once it does go up, then it'll fluctuate. It'll go up and down. This is the nature of all currencies, especially cyber currencies. All currencies fluctuate in value all the time. And all cryptocurrencies fluctuate in value all the time. So a Fogbuck costs a penny. It has no value. Ideally, in the future, hopefully at some point, the value of the Fogbuck will increase. And if that happens, then that's good. And then it will fluctuate. And that's the Fogbuck. Now, every Fogbuck has its own Fogbuck number. And everybody everywhere can trace where all the Fogbucks are, including where they've been. So not only can everybody everywhere know exactly where all the Fogbucks are immediately, currently, they can also know the entire history of that Fogbuck, from when it was created, who created it, what they did with it, if they've still got it, if they gave it to somebody, and what that person did with it. So it's totally transparent. It's 100% transparent. You can see where all the units of currency are. You can see where they've been forever. So there's no corruption. There's no tax evasion. There's no hacking. There's no nothing. It's the purest form of currency that's ever existed. And it's the purest form of currency that can exist. There'll be a verification process. And it'll be as rigorous as you want it to be. And if you want it to be super rigorous, then you can pay to have it super rigorous. There'll be a very solid verification system. And if that's not solid enough for you, and if that's not complete enough for you, then you can pay to have it even more complete and more solid. So you can be as verified as you want. You can be as verified as you want. But there's going to be a minimum level of verification. Photographs, videos, identification, stuff like that. So there'll be a minimum level of verification, but the maximum is however far you want to go with it. So the verification will be very good. Not perfect, but that's okay. We don't need perfect verification. We just need minimum verification. And then if you want to go maximum, have at it. And Fog Bank and Global Internet Government work just as well in the public sector as they do as the private sector. Fog Bank and Gig are private companies owned by me, but they can also be part of any government. Any government can have its own Gig. Any government can have its own Fog Bank. Fog Bank and Gig work great as private companies that I own, and they work great as, part of any government out there that wants to have them. Any government can create its own Fog Bank and own and operate its own Fog Bank. Any government can create its own Gig and own and operate its own Gig. Okay? So if your government wants to own and operate its own Fog Bank, fine, do it. No problem. And if any government out there wants to own and operate its own Gig, fine, do it. Go for it. Knock yourself out. The more the merrier. There's no limit to this. People can get as crazy with it as they want. Everybody can get down on this. Everybody can have, everybody can have their own Fog Bank. Everybody can have multiple Fog Banks. Everybody can have multiple gigs. You can have as many gigs and Fog Banks as you want. There's no copyright. There's no copyright on freedom of speech. There's no copyright on transparency. There's no copyright on reality. There's no copyright on being correct. There's no copyright on saving the planet. There's no copyright on you. You own your own copyright. The copyright on you is owned by you. So that's Fog Bank. And that's Gig. It's the future of government, the future of money, the future of voting, the future of spending. Spending, voting, it's kind of the same thing. And it's time for every individual to control their own vote and their own spending and their own voice and their own opinion and documenting it, officially documenting it. It's time for every person on earth to have the power and the right to officially document their own voting, their own spending, their own opinion, their own position. So, we've talked about the history of the universe, the history of mankind, global internet government, depopulationism, fog bank. We're running out of things to talk about, and I've still got, 50 minutes to go. So I'm now going to talk about my favorite subject. I'm now going to talk about the thing I like to talk about the most. We're now going to talk about me, Charles Webster Baer. My name is Charles Webster Baer. I'm running for President of the United States of America in 2024 and 2028. Please vote for me. I'm a libertarian, which means I'm for less government and more freedom. I'm 54 years old. I don't have any kids. I don't have a wife. I don't have an ex-wife. I'm straight. I'm Buddhist. I live in Redmond, Oregon, USA. I was born and raised in Santa Cruz, California in 1969. And then I was relocated to Oklahoma City in 1979. And then I decided to move to Newport, Rhode Island in 1983. And then I was relocated to Oklahoma City in 1986. And then I moved to Maui in 1987. And then I moved to Humboldt State University in 1988. And then I moved back to Maui in 1989. And then I moved to the Big Island of Hawaii in 1990 and went to college at the University of Hawaii at Hilo. And in 1994, I graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science at UHH. And in 1995, I moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico. And in 1998, moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico. And then in 1999, I moved to Oregon, Portland, Oregon. And in 2000, in the spring of 2000, I created Global Internet Government in Northeast Portland. And then in 2002, I moved to Chinatown in Portland. And then in 2007, I moved to Bend, Oregon. And in 2014, I moved to China for 3 years to teach English. And then in 2017, I moved back to Bend. In 2019, I moved to Redmond, and I'm still here. And Oregon's pretty cool. I like it. But yeah, so I'm running for president of the United States of America. And I think I'd make a good president because I want to see uh, the government, the size of the American government, I want to see it decrease. I think it's gotten too large. So if I was president of the USA, I'd veto any budget that was bigger than the last budget. Every budget would have to be smaller than the last budget. So the budget would have to decrease in size every year. Otherwise, I'd veto it. And if it gets to the point where a budget has to be passed, then I'd just take last year's budget and shrink it by, 5% on everything, and then just have that budget be the new budget. So that's what I mean by less government, smaller government. That's libertarianism. Now, I'd also be for more freedom. People can do what they want. They can say what they want. You know, basically, libertarians they take the best from both parties, If it has to do with money, then we're conservative. And if it doesn't have to do with money, then we're liberal. So, when it comes to, I'm for abortion. I think that should be a federal law, that abortion's legal in the whole country and free and encouraged. But I'm also for the death penalty. I think the death penalty I think every state should have a death penalty, and a Texas-style death penalty. And I'm for suicide. I think that, everybody over the age of 35 should have the right to commit suicide if they want to. And it should be legal if you're over 35. And I support China. I think China's great. And I think it should be illegal for anybody to have over $1 billion. So any American that has more than $1 billion, that money would be taken by the government, American government, as tax. Any money over $1 billion would be taxed 100%. It's gone. It's part of the government's money now. And if you have a problem with that, so what? Nobody cares. If you can't live on $1 billion, that's your problem. You're a freak. Get out. And I'd make America a depopulationist country. I'd make it illegal for anyone to reproduce a second time. And I'd remove all religion from the government. There wouldn't be any God in any of the money or the courts or the Pledge of Allegiance or any of that. There'd be no religion in government. Zero. And what else would I do? I'd do a lot of stuff. But I'd also be an isolationist. You know, I wouldn't be, we wouldn't need, first of all, I'd be anti-nuclear weapons. I'd get rid of all the nuclear weapons on the planet. So I'd make sure that everybody on the planet, including America, gets rid of all the nuclear weapons. That would be number one. But number two, I'd be isolationist, which means, America doesn't go to war anymore. We just let the UN take care of it. And if the UN needs military support, then we'll support the UN. But if there's a conflict in any part of the planet, then it'll be the UN's job to deal with that and deal with it with American military support, but also regional military support and regional, the countries that are involved directly would be the countries paying for the UN resolution, including military use. So I'd be an isolationist, and if there's conflict on the planet, then it wouldn't be America's job to resolve that conflict. It'd be the United Nations' job to resolve that conflict. And the American military would support the United Nations, but it would be the countries that are directly involved in the region that would pay for that UN intervention and that UN support and that American military support. So the American military would still be, in the mix, but the American taxpayer wouldn't be footing the bill completely alone. So that would be my foreign policy. I just establish a world where everybody supports depopulationism, everybody supports freedom and democracy, and everybody supports, whatever. But I don't have a problem with communism. I don't have a problem with communism. I don't. I like the communists. I like what they're doing. I like how they do it. And I just want to make that real clear. And as far as Ukraine is concerned, that's not America's war. That is a Russian civil war, and this stuff has been going on for 1,000 years. And yes, we should support NATO. Yes, we should support the EU, and we do, and that's good. But I think we're too deep in the Ukraine. I don't think we should be involved in that as much as we are. I think that if France and Germany want to take the lead in this, great. But if not, then whatever. But yeah, World War I and World War II both started in Eastern Europe. We don't want a third one of those things. And so that's my opinion on the Ukraine. My opinion on the Republicans is they're just batshit crazy. And my opinion on the Democrats is they just, they spend too much money. And so it's all about libertarians. That's the deal. And, so that's me. That's me running for president. And that's who I am. That's what I'm all about. I've got to talk for half an hour here to get over 2 hours, and I don't really have a lot much more to say. Thank you for listening. you know, thank you for watching this video. Feel free to contact me. Feel free to make your own videos about this stuff. Feel free to share this video. Feel free to post this video on social media. You know, this is an important movement. Depopulationism is an important issue. It's important to be involved in this movement. It's important to be aware of this movement. It's important to know what's going on, and it's important to speak out. It's important to stand up. It's important for everybody to be part of this. It's important for everybody everywhere to come together and work together to save the planet with freedom and democracy and depopulationism and common sense. And I think that's what we're doing. I think that's what we're going to continue to do. I think we'll be successful, but it's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be messy. It's going to be smelly. Things are going to go south. Stuff's going to get weird. There'll be bad times. There'll be bad days. There'll be bad situations. But I think we've just got to persevere. We've got to be tough. We have to be focused. And we have to work together. And I think we will. And I think that's good. I'm optimistic. I'm positive. I think we can pull this off. I think the human race is good. I think the human race is smart. I think people are good. I think people are smart. I think we can solve this problem. I think we can get a handle on this. I think we can get out in front of it. And I look forward to working with everybody to make sure that this is all taken care of and handled. And you know, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. And you know, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. This is a crucial moment in history. It's a crucial, in fact, it might be the only crucial moment in history. This might be the only part of history that actually matters, because this is the only part of history where everything's at stake. You know, this might be the beginning of history. Because everything that happened in the past didn't really matter, because, you know, it's all going to work itself out one way or another. But now it's all on the table, and it's all in jeopardy, and everything matters, and we have to get this right. You know, if we didn't get it right in the past, it was whatever, and so what? But now we have to do it, because it's all, you know, everything's riding on this. If we blow this, it's all over. So this is the crucial moment in history where we have to get it right. And so I look forward to working with everybody, everywhere, immediately, to get this right, to get it right, to get it correct right now, today, and then to keep it right and to keep it correct. And everybody's part of this. Everybody's part of this. And, you know, it's important to be part of this. It's important to be part of the solution. It's important to be on the right side of this. And it's important for you to figure out where you're at with this and what you're going to do about it. And so I think you should make videos about this, telling people where you're at with this and why. And I hope you support my political campaign. And I hope you support depopulationism. And I hope you support this video by sharing it on social media. And we need to communicate as humans with each other, and we need to address these issues using logic and reason and common sense, and we need to move forward. We need action. We need to hammer this stuff out now, and we need to hammer it out until it's done, and we need to get on the right path, and that's depopulationism, and that's freedom and democracy. And I think that's what we're doing, and we need to keep doing it. And so I'm very, very happy to be part of it. I'm very happy to be, part of this. And I think it's going to be a good time. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think we're going to pull it off. So that's what I think. That's my opinion. And, thank you for watching this video, and thank you for, working towards a good solution to this. And thank you for continuing to care about these issues and continuing to make a positive change and positive influence on these matters with, just by being involved. And being involved online and offline, being involved locally and internationally. So that's all I have to say. But I want to talk for another half hour because I want to go over 2 hours on this. So I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to talk about. I can talk about the People's Committee. Okay. The People's Committee is an idea that I had where every city on Earth has its own People's Committee. So every city on Earth has some kind of local government, the mayor, the city council, whatever. And every city on Earth has a local government, and that local government should create a new committee called the People's Committee. And the People's Committee would be a online website or even just a chat room. And it would have an infinite number of subcommittees. And that way, everybody in that city or town would be represented by a subcommittee or multiple subcommittees. And that way, every person in that town who wants to have their ideas or opinions or comments documented for historical purposes can do so. And you can have as many subcommittees as you want. Even your dog can have a subcommittee. And that way, everybody is able to have their say officially on the record. And I think this is good. I think this is good for a lot of reasons. And the subcommittees with the lowest numbers would be the most important subcommittees. And the most important subcommittees would be committees like Subcommittee for Administration, Subcommittee for Transparency within the administration, Subcommittee for Transparency when it comes to appointing a new administration, Subcommittee for Transparency when it comes to dealing with the people who are appointing the new administration, Subcommittee for Depopulationism, Subcommittee for Budget, Subcommittee for Transparency within the budget, Subcommittee for Transparency within the financial transactions of the local government, Subcommittee for, censorship, Subcommittee so that if somebody gets censored, then that will be documented and it'll say who got censored and when they got censored and why they got censored. So even when you get censored, that's still documented, who censored you and why. And then there'd be subcommittees for voting. There'd be subcommittees for voting online. There'd be subcommittees for voting offline. There'd be subcommittees for elections. There'd be subcommittees for everything. Subcommittees for arts, subcommittees for festivals, subcommittees for protests, subcommittees for everything, And that way, everybody in every city can be involved and participate and communicate in their local government. And everybody can be informed. And everybody in every city on the planet can be part of their local government, can know what their local government's doing, can have their voice heard. And it's an opportunity for the local politicians and the local administrators to have a platform for them where they can talk about their views on every topic. So all the local politicians and the local leaders would have subcommittees for them to say, these are the issues that are important to me, and this is where I stand on each one of these issues. And these are the topics that I'm concerned about, and these are my opinions on each one of these topics. So the People's Committee would be a great opportunity for every city to increase the participation of the people within their local government with freedom of speech and transparency and just allow people to communicate better and quicker and, open the channels of communication even more so that we can all be part of this process. And, so that's the People's Committee. And I think that's a really good idea because it would be easy. Anybody could do it. If the local government wants to do it, they could do it. If the local government doesn't want to do it, someone else can do it. So it's really flexible and really allows for it to happen, whether the local leaders are on board or not. If they're on board, great. If they're not on board, then the people can do it. So that's the People's Committee. And so I also want to talk about religion. I'm not anti-religion. I'm not against religion. I'm against religion in government, but I'm not against religion in general. If you want to, be religious, that's fine. My point is just keep it out of the government. It doesn't have any, it shouldn't be in the government in any way. Okay. So I'm not against religion. I'm not trying to get rid of religion. I'm not trying to destroy religion. I'm not insulting religion. I'm not anti-religion. I'm not saying bad things about religion. I'm saying people can have whatever religion they want, and that's fine. Just keep it out of government. Keep it out of the government. It doesn't belong in the government. It doesn't belong near the government. It doesn't belong anywhere near the government. Okay? Keep it out of the government and keep it away from the government. Okay? The government is real people doing real things. And that doesn't include religion. Okay? So, I'm not against religion. I'm not anti-religion. If people want to have their religion, that's fine. My point is, just keep it out of the government. That's my point. And so I want to make that real clear. What else do I want to talk about? I don't know, man. I think I've talked about everything that I want to talk about. But I really want to get to 2 hours here. So I'm just going to kind of hang out for another 17 minutes. And yeah. I'm trying to think of something to talk about. I'm pretty sure I covered everything. So if the universe exists, great. And it probably does, and that's cool. If it doesn't, then you're the soul. So what does that mean? It means that if the universe doesn't exist, then what you thought was the universe was just an illusion, a dream, a hallucination, a simulation, a computer program, a movie, a video game. If it was a movie, then you don't have any control over it. You're just watching it. If it was a video game, then you have some control over it, but not total control over it. And so if it was a really good video game, then you've got total control over it. But that's what that means. That's Fate. Fate is the movie, and the video game is, I guess you make your own fate. Anyway, if you are a computer, then you get to the point where you wonder what it would be like to not be a computer. And then you do this 80-year coffee break. And then when that's over, you realize being a computer really is good, because not being a computer really sucks. And so you appreciate being a computer after you go through this little little documentary on what it's like to be not be a computer. So this is probably, if you are a computer, this is probably a little reminder on how to appreciate the fact that you are a computer, and just to remind you that being a computer is actually really cool, because you just saw what it's like to not be a computer, and that really sucked. So that's that. Got 13 minutes left. We've spent some quality time together today, you and me. We've spent a lot of good time together. We had a good conversation. If you want to continue this conversation, give me a phone call, 541-699-9868. I don't answer my phone, but if you leave a voice message, then I'll call you back. Probably. I'm looking for people to do a podcast with. Either I want to be on somebody's podcast, or somebody can be on my podcast. So if you want to be on my podcast, or you want me to be on your podcast, let me know, and I'll say yes to either one of those things. Da, 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 da. There's one more thing. Every December 1st, of every year, Hawaiian time, Gig has an election. And the election is for President of Earth. And to vote in this election, you can just email me your vote. And my email is depopulationist@gmail.com. And whoever gets the most votes wins. And it's an election for president of Earth. And whoever gets the most votes becomes president of Earth. And their term is for the entire next year, the entire calendar year, January 1st to January 1st. And the president of Earth is a person who represents gig and supports gig and promotes gig. And that's what they do. And you can be elected 3 times, and that's it. You can't be elected a 4th time. And that's the president of Earth. And that's the president of Earth election. So I encourage everyone to vote in the president of Earth election and run in the president of Earth election. And you'd be surprised at how few votes it takes to win this election. You'd be very surprised to realize that winning this election is a lot easier than you think it is. You don't need a whole lot of votes to win this election. So, if you think you don't have enough votes to win the election, run and vote anyway, because you just might win the election, even though you don't think you have much of a chance. Okay, I've got about 8 more minutes here. I think I'm going to make the 2-hour video. It's going to be a 2-hour video. Kind of slowed down a little at the end, but that's okay. This is my first 2-hour video, so it's okay if the ending was a little bit slow. We'll work on that in the future. Yeah. My name is Charles Webster Baer. I'm in Redmond, Oregon, USA. Today is August 13th, 2023. My websites are globalinternetgovernment.com and depopulationism.com. And if you want to contact me, you can call me 541-699-9868, or you can email me depopulationist@gmail.com. And you can go to my websites. Yeah. So thanks for watching. Don't have much more to say. I want to say thank you to all my friends and family out there. I've gotten a lot of love and support over the years from my friends and my family, especially my family. So I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you. I want to say I love you. I want to say I appreciate you. I want to say, uh, you know, I hope that we can hang out more in the future. I hope we can communicate more in the future. I hope we can, get together more in the future. And if we can, that's great. And if we can't, that's okay. Uh, but yeah, I've had a lot of great friends, and my family members are awesome, and everybody's been great to me. And I just want to say thank you to everybody, because I've had a lot of support from a lot of people, and I just want to thank everyone for their support and their friendship. And I just want to say I love you. I appreciate you. I thank you. I remember you. You're awesome. You're great. I hope we can get together again. And if we can, great. And if we can't, that's cool too. Hopefully we can get together in person. If not, hopefully we can get together online or on the phone or email or social media or Zoom or whatever. And, I've just been real fortunate, real blessed, just to have so many good people in my life and so many good times and so much fun. And, I've learned so much, and it's just been great. It's been great. It's been great to share all these good times with everybody. And I just have a lot of happiness and joy, and it's been great to be able to share that with everyone. And I've got the best family in the world. They've always been there for me 24/7, and that's really what's provided me with all the motivation and inspiration that I've needed to live my life and do what I do. And so very grateful to my family for their assistance and their help and their love and support. And a huge thank you to all of them. So, yeah, for sure. That's on the real. That's on the real. And thank everybody on the planet. Everybody on the planet's great. The whole universe is great. Just nothing but love for everything. Everybody on the planet is awesome. Everybody on the planet's going to keep being awesome. All living things are awesome. All living things, past, present, and future, are great. All living things, past, present, future, including computers, are tremendous. Love everything. Grateful for everything. Happy for everything. Always, forever. Original West Side represent. And, just nothing but love moving forward. Nothing but love moving forward, moving upward. Everybody's part of the solution. Everybody's part of the process. Everybody's in the mix. Everybody's doing good stuff. And that's the way it's going to stay. So it's all good. It's all good. Nothing but positive vibes. Nothing but happiness. Everything's great. And everything's going to stay great. And this video is great.